In North America, we're awaiting the Civic Hybrid based off of the refreshed 11th generation Honda Civic. But check out what's going on over in China. We have an electric Honda coming out, and it is absolutely... Good news is, guys, we're not going to see this ever reach our shores. You can rest assured, but it is Civic size. We're going to go over this. We have so much EV news to cover today, talking about dealers pessimistic on the future EVs. We'll talk about luxury status of Tesla. We'll talk about Rivians can now charge at Teslas seamlessly. The superchargers. We'll talk about Vinfast, where they're at right now currently. The recent Nissan Honda team up. We got more information on that. The Japanese automakers and government are doing everything they can to secure their resources out of mineral-rich Africa. We just got so much to talk about and a little Trumpy Trump at the end. So make sure you guys stay to the end to talk about all the ridiculousness of the EV market, the good, the bad, the indifferent. If you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about industry auto news. I also review cars. I have just got back recently from Nashville, Tennessee. I drove the new Hyundai Santa Fe. That review will be going live within 24 hours of this recording right now, so stay tuned for that. And I will be driving, if you guys like fully electric, I do. I'm getting the Volvo XC40 refresh single motor here on the channel tomorrow. I'll have it for a week to review, so stay tuned. Man, you guys know how I feel for Volvos. So let's talk about this over at Car Scoops. First EV from Honda's Lingxi brand. I could be butchering that. They aim to impress young Chinese drivers. I'm not exactly young anymore. I'm definitely not Chinese, but I'm impressed. I guess I would say I'm impressed. I'm impressed with how hideous this design is. I don't understand this. I mean, you can just see from this image right here that and this is a low quality image, not to the fault of Car Scoops. It's just kind of like, these are kind of like leaked images over from China. The panel gaps, well, not the gaps, but the misalignment is noticeable when you have hard edges. You can see this not aligning properly. The gap on the charger port looks enormous. This panel not, well, it's like plastic on top of the door panel, not aligning perfectly. This thing is going to be cheap, and we don't know a ton about it. We know it essentially identical to the Honda Civic in size. It is 0.1 inch difference in wheelbase length. And it is at 107.5 inches long. It has a lithium iron phosphate battery pack, which will bring costs down. And curb weight is 3,752 pounds. Let's look up what a Civic Si curb weight is. It's 2,900 pounds. So this thing weighs 700-800 pounds more. I know, bad math, but 700-800 pounds more than a Civic Si. Holy smokes. Now, we do have some information on its motor, 215 horsepower. Now, I don't know if it's front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. It's a Honda, so I would assume it's front-wheel drive. Now, this is a joint venture with the Dongfeng brand. Every automaker other than Tesla, seemingly, that is coming from outside China has to team up with a Chinese automaker to make vehicles. All right, so Dongfeng here with this Lingxi, it's called the Lingxi L. So this model is L and Lingxi is the brand. And it looks better from behind. And in fact, if you look at just this area right here, it kind of looks like the WRX. We just have angles and lines everywhere. An additional brake light up here with the, with the Lingxi logo up here at the top. You see the L down here at the bottom right. Yeah, it's not going to come to the United States, which most of us are fine with. It's based off of this concept, which didn't have door handles. I think also this has digital side mirrors instead of physical side mirrors. So that's different. We'll never see that in the United States until they change the laws. But the daytime running lights here actually look a little bit like the Civic, but they have a light bar and it's just bizarre and crazy styling. Let me know if you guys like it. To me, it's not getting me interested. And in fact, let me know, what would you pick? Would you pick this if it was available in the United States? Let's say it has 250 miles of range. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Let's say it's 250 miles of range, 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. Would you pick a Honda Civic Si? Would you pick any other Honda Civic? Or would you pick the hybrid. I mean, if the hybrid was available right here, right now, it would be hard to say no to. We're going to keep moving. I just thought that was a good icebreaker for today's video. Dealers are pessimistic on EV sales. Check out what Automotive News and Cox Automotive have dialed up here. Check out this graph. Feeling low. Franchise dealers answered the question, compared to last year, how do you describe your EV sales? Scores above 50 signify strength or growth, while scores below 50 signify weakness or decline. Well, we had a neutral score in Q4 of 2023. It's dropped all the way down to 43. And in the testing of the same question all the way back to 2021, we have never seen anywhere quite as pessimistic as we're seeing in the first quarter of 2024. Dealers are not excited for the future that EVs are bringing. And their sales right now on EVs are very low in comparison where they thought they would be. Negative outlook. The dealers were asked, what do you expect the EV market in your area to look like 3 months from now? Back in Q2 2021, high. Remember, above 50 is positive for growth, and it was about 64 in Q4 of 2024. In Q4 of 2023, it dropped down below 50, which is a negative or negative growth. And they're expecting sales declines here in the next 3 months. So they expect the EV market to decline here in Q1 2024. At least maybe their feelings on it. The EV market is growing, but it's growing due to the fact that there's just more vehicles available, not necessarily because the demand is really, really high. We know the demand has really cooled off. First-time buyers have already got in and got their vehicle, most of them a Tesla, right? And speaking of Tesla, Automotive News in the past, when they tally monthly sales total, yearly sales total for luxury and mass market, they've always included Tesla in the luxury, and I've never ever agreed with it. And I've called Automotive News out for this because I've already made videos on why I don't think Tesla is a luxury brand, not in the past nor in today's market. They're saying they've stripped Tesla of the luxury status. They said because the prices were high, competed mostly with Mercedes-Benz and Lexus back in 2022. And they said it based a new kind of luxury on technology. Luxury is not just technology. That's, I guess, a piece of it. Luxury is quiet. It's refinement. It's smooth. It's nice materials. And most importantly, you could say right at the top is elite customer service. And I don't think Tesla does any of, well, I'm not going to say any of those things, but most of those things I just mentioned at a luxury level. With the price cuts, they mentioned the Model Y went from the mid-60s to the mid-40s. They said last year with its 34% growth to over 640,000 units in the United States last year, it nearly matched the next two biggest brands combined, BMW and Lexus. The Y has supplanted the Corolla as the world's best-selling model, but in fact, this past year, Tesla Model Y was outsold by the RAV4. I need to pull that article up real quick. Yeah, here we go. Over at KBB, F-Series, 750,000, Silverado, 555,000, Ram 1500, 444,000, RAV4, 434,000, and Model Y dipped below the RAV4. The Model Y outsells the RAV4 out in California. I thought this would be the year that the Model Y passes the RAV4 here in the United States, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They just narrowly edged out the CR-V. And they say now that the Tesla is offering a Model 2 in the near future that costs 25 to 30 grand, that lowers the luxury status and extent of the brand. Automotive News says Tesla sells some luxury vehicles, the S and X, which cost a lot more money than the Model Y and the Model 3. But as an argument, I've always said this too, the brands that sell luxury equipped pickup trucks doesn't make them luxury vehicles. It means that they have luxury features, but they're not luxury vehicles. Just because they cost a lot of money like the Ford GT or the Corvette does not make them luxury. But I don't want to beat a dead horse. If you guys think Tesla should be considered luxury, put them down below. Why? I will stick to my guns and say they've never been luxury, nor will they ever be, unless they start their own luxury brand. I think the Model X and S could be sold as a separate luxury brand and Tesla's be for the masses. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter at this point. Rivian R1S and R1T can now charge at Tesla superchargers. They can just plug it into their vehicle with the adapter, I would assume, unless they're coming from the factory with the NACS port already installed in them. No, yeah, it's the adapter here. They don't need to get their phone out. They don't need to mess with the app. It'll just automatically build them. This is the future, guys. This is the future. It is getting easier to fill up your gas cars. For example, I can just go to Sam's Club, have my phone scan the barcode on the pump, and it immediately links to my account, and I can start filling up. I don't have to get my cards out or anything. That's convenient enough for me, but they're taking it to the next level. It'd be like putting the gas dispenser into your gas tank receiver. It just charging you automatically. So it's just very streamlined. But the problem is it just still takes forever to charge your car compared to a gas car. But it's good. We're getting closer. We need to keep getting it more efficient. Direct payment is one of those ways. Talking about VinFast real quick. They're making big moves. I don't know if it's going to help them or not long term. I mean, product is most important, but I think the most fitting comparison to VinFast right now is like, is Frodo saying he feels like butter spread over too much bread? That's what I feel like VinFast is doing. They're spreading through many, many countries right now and not really getting any momentum in any certain country. And that includes their home country, where over 70% of the total VinFast sales globally are through VinFast's own cab or taxi cab company that they set up essentially just to buy these excess VinFast vehicles. Anyways, they're entering the African market via a Ghana distributor. Buyers don't want to spend more than $20,000. VinFast is charging ridiculous amounts of money for their unproven BEVs in the United States. And they're not going to be able to sell them unless they have like the VF3, the little, I call it a beach cruiser, kind of like the Jimny, but fully electric. If they can bring that to this market, it might do well. If they bring it to the United States, it could do well as well. But in the meantime, they're also launching global charging stations with this new company too. It's called V Green, and it would prioritize supporting VinFast vehicles globally. And they want to set up their own charging network in key markets of VinFast. Outside of Vietnam, can you name a key market for VinFast? They want to expand to at least 50 countries in 2024. In recent weeks, they struck a deal with Oman, its first Middle East country. They broke ground on a factory in India. They have a right-hand drive model for sale in Indonesia. They've launched in Thailand as well. And they have its taxis running in Laos. According to Martin Schroeder, an auto researcher and associate professor at Ritsumeikan University, he told Nikkei, the recent internationalization steps could be beneficial in the mid to long term, but they do not move the needle on BEV sales. Again, globally, the car company delivered less than 35,000 EVs last year, 72% of them to its taxi affiliate. Again, let me know down below, do you think VinFast is going to make it long term? Got to applaud their ballsiness, that's for sure. All right, if you missed my videos this past week talking about Honda and Nissan teaming up, it's really exciting. They need to essentially work together to keep up with the Joneses in the electric vehicle market, from Tesla to Toyota and BYD and other Chinese startups. They just don't have nearly as much cash on hand compared to Tesla. Nissan especially, they literally have negative free cash flow. Honda having quite a bit, about 2/3 of Tesla's free cash flow. Their benefit will lie on jointly developing and ordering systems together to bring down costs in the future. Nissan, though, has seemingly a lot more to gain than Honda out of this sort of joint venture that they have working together. I want to bring this up. Japan is building supply chains in Africa so that they are not completely reliant on China. We already know the Chinese have inroads into Africa for cobalt and nickel and other metals. It looks like Japan is finally doing the same here to keep up with China. But here's the thing. If China has a monopoly over most of the BEV minerals, then they get to set the price, or they can choose just not to sell to anyone either. And then everyone who's dependent on them is just left out of the equation, and China is laughing their way to the bank. They have to make sure that they are independent as much as possible from China if worst case scenario happens. So they're working with Zambia, Congo, Namibia to make sure that they can get their own piece of the EV mineral pie as well. I'll put this into the description as well if you guys want to read about it. I'm not going to go much into it. This one I found it was kind of interesting. I made a video a while back that Hertz was hurting from buying too many EVs. They depreciated too fast, so they lost a lot of money on them. But even worse than that, when they get into accidents, they are very expensive. So the insurance rates were skyrocketing on them, and the repair costs were skyrocketing on them. So rental companies are diminishing, or if not completely getting rid of their electric vehicles due to their high expense on the repair as well as the insurance end. So the CEO who ordered all these electric vehicles is stepping away from Hertz. His name is Steven Schur, and he is getting the heck out of Dodge. Gil West is replacing them. He used to be the COO of General Motors Cruise Robotaxi unit, and Cruise at this point in time is kind of a hot dumpster fire. And this gets everybody on edge, right? Over automotive news, if Trump gets in, he's threatening to tariff the Chinese cars that will be made in Mexico, right? BYD is going to be building cars in Mexico in the near future. It's just a matter of time. He's threatening to put 100% tariff on those vehicles if they are to be sold in the United States. Here's the thing. There's like the BYD Seagull, I think that's what it is, or Seagull Mini. It's a $10,000 vehicle, and it is currently on sale. It's kind of like the size of, let's say, a Yaris or a Chevy Spark or something like that. It's really, really small, but it's $10,000. And if those were sold here in the United States for, let's say, $15,000, we'd have a problem on our hands. Maybe not for the consumer, right? Because the consumer is buying these cars at a low price, but at least the initial thing is good, right? Spending not that much money on a new car. That seems really good to the consumer. But the US is worried about privacy. Are these cars siphoning information from the customers? That's something that the US is worried about. Worried about that information getting sent back to China. So interestingly, I just wanted to see what your thoughts on. I don't know what to think about it. 100% tariffs on Chinese-made cars in Mexico. Currently, they're 25% tariff on Chinese-made cars coming from China. So this would be, I mean, this is just on a different level altogether. So very interesting. Also, I'm not going to go over the rest of the article. There's not much to say here. It's just a bunch of, big taglines of politics, but I'm going to end it there. Ending with this vehicle. Would you guys be interested in a Civic EV? I absolutely would. Of course, it would never ever look like this for our market, but let's get that Civic hybrid here first this summer and see about 50 miles per gallon on it while getting really good performance. Cannot wait. But I got in there. It's a really long video. Got to go pick up the kids. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.